Good evening. My name is Likuyani Eli, and you are right in time for Against All Odds. As always, coming to you every single Sunday right here on the Arts in Heart. My guest is an interesting one. Her profile is amazing, and her story is extraordinary. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the one and only Thitu Kariba Garang. I'll let her introduce herself. Good evening, Thitu, and how are you?
So I am so good. Thank you for having me back on the show. How are you?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, you're looking beautiful, and your how you call it, your decor is just amazing. So I think there's something African happening here. I don't know what it is, but I'm loving the fact that you're on the show, and more excited to share your story with my audience. So, in case you're joining us for the first time, remember you can follow this cast every single Sunday on Facebook and YouTube. The handles are as they appear on my screen. The Arts in Heart. I'm going to make it a little bit easier for all of us so that we can be able to follow through the conversation. You want to tag us? Remember to equally use the hashtag Art in Heart, hashtag responding to live, and you can equally tag Thitu Kariba Garang on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, she's on Instagram. Very big profile there. So, Thitu,
Yes. I'm kind
I
of
can
nervous
talk and
actually.
yap like a word. So, okay, you don't have to be nervous because there's nothing about this that is has to make you worried because it's equally a moment to share, with the rest that are watching and want to hear about theatre. So, very fast, just let us know who is theatre in a nutshell.
Well, Thitu Kariba is a phenomenal woman, if I could say that. I am a wife, a mother of three. I am a healing ambassador. I'm basically what that means is God's instrument of healing here through many things that we'll talk about today. An author and a counselor, coach, content creator, the list goes on and on. But in a nutshell, I'm just a person put here to help others get by and to to just love on people and help them heal and rebuild, restore, and renew their lives.
I like the part that you call yourself an ambassador and a healing one for that matter. What exactly are you healing people from? Are you practicing any juju by any chance?
No, I'm not. I am, you know, we talk about so many things, so many physical ailments and things you can go to the hospital for, but there's so many things that you can't go and look at a blood test, a urine test, x-ray and find. And a lot of things are mental, emotional and spiritual. So I would like to say I deal with that when it comes to healing the innermost being of a person that we can't quite touch, but it has so much to do with what we are, who we are, and how our lives turn out. For example, your thoughts. You know, if you have constant negative thoughts, how can we help you think positive? Think on good things. We can't touch your thoughts. We can't medicate your thoughts. But your thoughts create your actions. Your actions create habits, and your habits, they form your destiny. So it's a big thing. But how many people can actually impact that part of you?
Well, I will say a few, and that's why I have you here to try and impact on me and the very many that are watching tonight. Fitu, for you to talk about destiny and everything that pertains destiny, we equally have to talk about history. You are very outspoken when it comes matters sexual violence. And reading through some of the posts you've made here and there, I realize you address much about rape. Why is this topic very important to you as a person, Tito?
Um, Unfortunately, rape is something I experienced, and unfortunately, it didn't just happen once. And one of the things I've come to now realize, especially in people's lives, is that when you look at a woman or a man who's been sexually abused, the tendency is that it tends to happen over and over. Um, so it's not something anybody ever wants to say. It's not something easy to say, because when you have to open your mouth and say the words "I was raped," a lot of the looks or the questions or the feedback you get is, what were you doing? Where were you? Things that kind of still point towards what actions did you take as the so-called victim to have this come upon you.
Mhm.
Whereas, if you're just feeling unwell, I have a cold or something, somebody will be like, oh, you must have been around somebody else, a homa, or you were rained on, or pole, you know, we'll pray for you to get better. um, that's not usually the case, and it wasn't the case with me. In fact, I like many people who've experienced this crude act of rape, would hardly accept it upon ourselves, let alone um, say it to anybody. And you find that by the time a rape victim even tries to get help, so many things will have passed that you find yourself unable to even be helped to a certain degree. Um, I don't know how to explain that. Let me share from my own experience. The morning after I was raped, my mind was still on getting to work. So that's what I did. You see people who are in shock, like you're in a car accident or you're hit by a car, the person stands up and continues walking. And that's how it felt like for me. I just stood up and all I could think of was, I'm late for work. I'm late for work. And when I got to work, my boss at the time looked at me and he's like, something's off. And I'm like, I'm sorry I'm late. I just need to get ready and I'll be right there. Just give me 10 minutes. And I remember picking up the phone and calling my friend. And I tried to tell her what happened, but the words just could not leave my mouth. I couldn't say it. And I said, anyway, it's okay, let me dash to work. Um, Fortunately, where we worked had showers and everything, so you could get ready before work. Because I was handling food at the time, so you were required to be quite clean. And the first thing, of course, I did was I wanted to get out of my clothes. I wanted to feel clean again, if that was even possible. So I showered, and I feel like I scrubbed myself like 8 times. Um, and then I went to work. Honestly, I don't remember the events of the day. I was completely out of it, to the point where my boss was like, you know what? I called your father to come and get you because I think I was 17 or something. This is even before, this is after my sexual abuse as a child, you know. Um, but this particular one, is one I can speak about because I do remember it, as opposed to the childhood one where it's still in and out. Um, and I'll touch on that in a minute. But I remember when my boss was like, I've called your dad, and I was like, oh God, you know. Um, but sitting there waiting and playing it in my head over and over again, what exactly happened? This couldn't have happened. No, 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 no. you know, I must have said, I must have done, all these things. And I remember calling, um, trying to call the police and say, okay, so what does one do when they've been raped? And they were like, well, you have to come in or go to the hospital to be examined and fill in like a report from there, and and trying to call even a hospital to ask questions. And I remember by the time I was trying to gather that myself to get to a hospital to say, I was raped, that was days or weeks later. And it was showers and showers after. And at that point, what do the police have to go on other than your story, if you're still willing to tell it? They can't collect any evidence really, because they'll unfortunately do all sorts of investigations if it's a woman, in your vagina and stuff like that, to collect samples. But at this point, it's too late. You know, a lot of times the clothes you were wearing, maybe you burnt, you got rid of, and that's what they need. You know, when something happens, your memory of it is fresh at that moment in time. Before your mind does what it does when you've been traumatized, which is forget some things, block out some things, deny some things. Um, but it's things like that that, as much as you think you're doing the right thing, I mean, what does one actually really know about what to do when you're raped? But the first thing you want to do is take a shower, change, get out of those clothes, and just get somewhere safe. But when you get to the actual, clinics and police station, it's the worst thing you could have done, you know. Um, and then I remember my father coming to pick me. And of course, like all fathers are busy people, they have to stop what they're doing to come and now deal with you. And I remember the night when the incident happened, I had a vehicle, and I used to use it to go back and forth from work that my father had given me. And 17 going on 18 there, I had like a provincial driving license, so you're allowed to be on the road and stuff like that. I think it was just a few weeks to my birthday or a few days, I can't remember. And So he came and he's like, here I am, I've given you the car, and now, for whatever reason, probably you didn't check the oil or all these things. Now the car broke down on you, you left the car on the side of the road in the middle of the night. Now I have to stop what I'm doing during, work hours to come and deal with you and come and find somebody to pick the car. And I mean, that natural progression of what parents would do when, they have to pick up your slack. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, it didn't even feel to me like I could say even to him, Dad, this is why you were called, or this is what's happening. I at that point just felt like what he was saying was true. Perhaps if I got the car, if I had put oil in the car or whatever, checked the car, maybe it wouldn't have broken down. Therefore, I wouldn't have been on the middle of the road at that time. So again, feeling like it's my fault, you know.
Yeah, Thitu, just before I lose you there, such an intense story you're telling, but I would like to get something clear, and that is, if you don't mind telling this part of the story. You mentioned you were coming from somewhere that evening, Had you got out, or what exactly transpired? And did the car actually break down, or was it an imagination uh, when your dad came through to see what had happened to you without knowing exactly what was going on?
Um, well, I know for a fact that the car had broken down when at this moment in time, I was an intern somewhere. I was working so I could get a scholarship to go to university. So I was a responsible young, can I even say adult, young lady. So much so that at that point my father had given me a car to use because I was working at a hotel, so I had done most of the night shift stuff. So I was kind of not quite in a day shift, but I was doing the very early morning shift. So some of us would come in at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 4 a.m., times like that. Because, hotels, they run 24 hours when it comes to the service. Um, so I remember being with some friends just out near the area. Um, and I thought, you know what, instead of having to go all the way home where I lived, which was quite far, I was going to hang out with my friends. And then at a certain point in the morning, because I know I have to be at work early, I'll, I'll leave, drive down. It's not so far. It was one straight road and make it there in 10, you know. I remember even as a young, you know, as a young girl, I people, they'll be at this party or whatever, and they'll offer you a drink here and there. But I was that person who was like, no, 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 no. I need to get this job done. I'm a few months to getting my scholarship, So I knew for a fact I didn't want to ruin that. So I was very responsible. I can say that for a fact. And I didn't have any drinks that night. Went straight. I was really eager to start work actually. I remember because I was moved to a different part of the hotel. So I had this new uniform. I was going to be more in the front, dealing more with, the clients. I was very excited about that. And um, I had made friends with one of the seniors in my department. So what they used to do is, because of the time the shift would start, I was allowed to come in, and they were like, "We'll give you one of the hotel rooms that are not being used, and you can rest a bit and take a shower. Feel like." It was nice because I was so young. Like, oh wow, this is what it feels like staying in a hotel in Nairobi, and it was a good hotel. Um, and so I know for a fact I wasn't dreaming. I was very clear about what I used to do, and it wasn't the first time I had done it. But when the car broke down, um, I remember being on Wayaki Way at night, at those funny hours, and you can imagine a young lady on Wayaki Way thinking, Jesus Christ. And the thing was, I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna be mugged, I'm gonna be raped, I'm gonna be killed out here. So when the car just wouldn't go on, I didn't waste time. I got out and I literally started running. I was running towards, the roundabout for, was it the mall? There was a Chumi, um, and all that. So I was running that way and I ran. And I remember the gas station was, there was a club or a bar somewhere there that was open. There was a lot of bars around that area that were open. So I literally ran into the first one. I think it was around near Gypsies there. I think it was called Gypsies. That area. So I ran into the first place that was open, thinking, "Oh, hallelujah, I made it." Um, and I met a few guys that I know. You know how it is when you're out and about now and then. You know people, but you're not like friends, friends. It's that guy you always see in that club, that kind of thing. And so I told the person, I just need to get to, it was literally from Westlands there, I needed to get to like the university, just near KBC, just like down that way. I wasn't even going far, but because of the hour, obviously, one, there was no matatus or anything, and I was not going to walk. So the guy was like, "Oh, okay, don't worry, just sit. You know, we have like your shift starts in a few, like an hour or two. We'll get you there." And he's a very nice guy. He's very chilled. So he was like, "Okay, my friend over here is going down that way. He actually lives down that way. They're just finishing up their drinks and then they can drop you. It's literally like just down that way." And I was like, "Okay, fine." At this point, I'm just feeling so relieved that I got out of the car and I ran here and I made it here safely. And all I have to do is wait, you know? So I'm seeing myself like, I'm gonna get to work on time, you know, it's like I'm gonna get to work on time. I had really planned to be there and not disappoint my boss. So I was excited about that. And so the guys were just, you know, having their last round of drinks or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, what do you want to drink?" And I remember just, I was so determined to be that, you know, intern who was always doing well. So I was like, "No, I'll just have a soda." I ordered a Coke. I remember that, and I was having my Coca-Cola, and uh, somewhere along the way, I was like, "Okay, let me just go use the bathroom and come back." I went to use the bathroom. I came back, and when I was, you know, finishing up my drink, I just started feeling out of it, in and out, very woozy. In fact, most of that part now I don't really even remember, you know. And next thing I know, I was in a car with the guys, and then next thing I know, we were in a house. And I remember I remember the house, but then we went round the back, you know. Uh, you know how you can kind of tell you're going round the back of a house and not the usual, like through a door, through the living room. So I knew that much, although I was still very in and out of it. And
I know what you mean. Um,
I'm just, I, well,
yes,
let me just say it this way. I'm never, as much as I've healed and moved on from there, it's um it's not a place I like to go back to. So I put all this stuff in my book. It took me a while to write these things, but I wrote everything in my book. I was very open and graphic in my book, fortunately or unfortunately, because I needed people to understand that when we are saying we were raped, it wasn't this pleasant sexual experience. You know, it wasn't my willingness, and it wasn't like the person was kind to you. Um, so I'm not, I can't talk about it further, you know. But it is in the book. It's the one place I was able to just get it together and write it once and for all, um, so that I don't have to go into the details of it.
well, Peter, we will get back to that. And yeah, it's quite a heavy story there. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Thitu Kariba Garang, a very interesting soul. She's not just a writer or an author. She is actually a healing ambassador. And through her story, she wants to change other people's lives that have faced sexual violence. And more importantly, they have been abused in different ways, mentally, physically, emotionally, you know, however you want to put it. That is Thitu Kariba Garang. Let's go to the comment section, see what is being discussed over there. We have Anne Lumasai who says, I remember watching a story on Switch TV and she literally shed tears. There is Sarah Njonjo who says, hugs to you, Thitu. Raul Kironi says, love and hugs Thitu Kariba Garang. Oh my God, I've lost sleep. Wycliffe who says he's watching and in silence, listening to us. Zena Hussein says, what a beautiful lady you are, Thitu. We have Keroni Raul again goes ahead and says, Thitu, some victims live in silence for a very long time. And when they eventually come out and call out their abusers, nobody believes them. Please address this. And this is something we're going to discuss as we continue the conversation. Joy Omoha says, already emotional, yet I've just logged in. Hugs to you, they do. A lot of hugs, of course. And Sarah Njonjo again goes ahead and says, Thitu Kariba Garang, you're a strong girl. Just the thought of you opening up what you went through, kudos to you. The conversation goes on. For those who just joined us, we are talking to Thitu Kariba Garang, and let us comment there with the hashtag Art in Heart responding to life. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want us to discuss even more about the beauty for the My Crown for Beautiful Ashes. That's a book Thitu has actually published and authored, and equally discuss about her experience with drug use and abuse, and many more. So we take a break. We'll be right back after this. Remember, you are watching Against All Odds, which comes to you every single Sunday, right here on the Arts in Heart.
Pamoja nawe
And welcome back to the show. My name is Likuyani Ali. Just in time for the second half of this, we are hanging out with Thitu Kariba Garang on Against All Odds. My guest, an interesting woman, a strong one, of course, very brave to share her story. And we are back, Thitu. That was quite some break there. I hope you had time to take your water. And Karibu Sana, before you left, I was trying to be a man here. And then somebody told me, Ellie, you can use the tissue, there's no problem. But yeah, again, it is what it is. And thank you so much for being with me tonight as we talk about your story that seeks to address other people's issues. So, Titu,
Yes.
I want to take you back to the book My Beautiful Ashes. Of course, before we left, we had discussed a little bit about it, and it's quite an interesting book for those who haven't had a chance to get a copy of it. I think and believe Tito will be able to guide us on how we can get a copy of that book and be able just to read it and find out what Tito talks about in that book. But she can, meanwhile, give us a glimpse of what stood out for you as you're writing that book, and why did you actually choose to write that book, Thitu?
Wow. Sorry. I don't even think I can say it was a choice for me to write the book. Um, in all complete honesty, if I had to choose, I would rather have not said anything. you know, um, nobody wants to air. That's not even your dirty laundry. It feels like airing your naked body and your sin before everybody. And and I say that because, in as much as it may not be our fault as victims, there's an element of being treated as such. So it's the idea that it's associated with sex on its own makes it taboo to talk about, and and my initial um, point of leading me to write this book was a constant condemnation from God. Honestly, my spirit I could not sleep. I just could not sleep I went through this for I think 2 years where I couldn't sleep. And I kept feeling like you have to break the silence. You've got to break this silence. And with each time that that voice came to mind and I refused to obey it, I encountered another victim. And the last girl I I was trying to get to, a friend of mine, a young man, came and said, I have a girl and she needs help. She's been pregnant 8 times, and each time her parents have made her have an abortion. And he said that he believes that it's abuse from within the family somewhere. Um, and she was I think 18 or younger. Um, they came from a good family, and I had arranged to meet her and see what was happening because she had just had another abortion, and she was done, and she couldn't take it anymore. And I wanted to just meet with her and understand what the situation was. How is it that she's had 8 abortions? Like, how is this happening? Where is there where is then there a lesson being learned or something being applied? You know, and I knew that something wasn't right there. But just before I was able to meet with her, the friend called me back, and after a few, is it a week or so, and he said, "Hey, the young lady you was supposed to meet, she's not here anymore." I was like, "What do you mean she's not here?" And he just was like, "She's dead," and I it shook me. I was really concerned. I couldn't understand what he was talking about. And apparently she had killed herself, and that that was it. That was as far as the story he could tell me. But in the family, they just said that she had an accident that resulted in her death, um, and that was that. Buried, finished. Nobody was to talk about it anymore. And then now, you know, he told me that one of now the siblings, either the sister or the brother, like there was a lot of problems now creeping up because they were from a good family and they couldn't talk about the real issues, and there was a lot of mental health issues happening now, cropping up from this incident. But at that point, I felt that this can't go on. We can't. I have to come to a point where I talk about things like this, because if we don't break the silence, there are going to be young men and women out there just dying, like just killing themselves, dying. And what a lot of people don't understand is that by the time you choose to take your own life, to kill yourself, trust me, you are dead long time ago. The inside of you is gone. You are so dead on the inside that all you're looking for is to rest and not have to wake up in the morning and face another day. It's exhausting just living your day to day life and trying to look like you're okay. You're just dead inside. You feel nothing. I mean, I've been at that point where I was so far gone, because suicide was something I had tried, but I was so far gone that mental health, God, it affects you so deeply that it affected my taste buds. I could not taste anything, anything. Like that was, the doctor was like, at this point, you've even lost your sense of taste. That's how detached you are. And people don't know that. Like you stop feeling anything, So you are literally like a zombie, like the Walking Dead. So by the time you're taking your life, you don't really feel like there's anything that you're taking from people, you know. And I had to say something, because I was in a place where I had been there and found a way back and found a way out, a way through, and I was better. I was actually happy. I was in a point where I started to live my life. And I kept thinking to myself, I can't do this by myself either. I can't make it through by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also difficult to be in a place where you're the only one who kind of understands.
Thitu, I like the fact that you mentioned that, and it's quite heartening to hear about that poor soul that had to go through that. Um, and some of them will take the easy way out, which I don't think it's very easy to take your life. But some will end up in drug abuse. Thitu, did you have an experience with this? And if you did, how did you go through it?
Okay, well, uh, sorry. Whew, okay.
You can take your time.
I mentioned before that when you go through a dark place, when you experience something traumatic, or in the case of sexual abuse, something happens when you experience that. um, I don't know how many people can actually, who are watching can actually attest to this, but I can understand if nobody wants to say anything. But when you're in a dark place and you're stuck in that place, you just keep getting into darker and darker things. You know, it feels like there's this cloud of darkness, of tragedy, of just bad things that just walks around with you. And after having my experience um, that morning, I I told you that I was around 17 and it was almost my birthday, so I had my birthday, and I'm not gonna lie that I had never drunk before, but now I could actually buy alcohol. I was legal, and I remember while I was at that hotel over lunchtime. It was in town area, so over lunchtime I used to make my way to like the police post mess, or like National Theater, where I drinks were not expensive, and honestly for lunch I would just drink, and then I'd come back to the hotel to work. And all I kept feeling is, if I could just make it through this 1 hour, one day, I could just go home and sleep. And that at that point, the alcohol became just the thing that allowed me to just push on and not feel and forget. So I would do that. At some point, I got a way to go across the border to Tanzania, and I started singing, and I started a music career. And I mean, it was great. It was great. It's just that, in as much as I had the gift, the talent, and all these things, I still had the darkness. you know I wasn't in a good place. So the man I was dealing with at the time, the producer, we started off okay, and then, believe it or not, one day he just, again, the same thing, just beat me so bad and proceeded to rape me. And I just thought, this is my life. you know
Thitu, I'm sorry to cut you, but did this affect the way you related with people? Because you decided to take your way out and go to alcohol, which was not paying off, and you decided to pursue other dreams that will make you happy. And when you just thought you were into it, the very, I would call the very, you know, past you are running from actually came to be your real present. Did this affect how you relate with people, and to what degree?
well, my abuse started when I was 6 years old. And by the time I was a 10-year-old girl, I had asked my questions. I had asked God all my questions. I concluded that it's not that I didn't believe in God, it's that God hated me. I knew there was God. I just knew, for whatever reason, He didn't like me. I felt like I was the thing God used to show people, like, this is what I do to people that I don't like or disobey me or whatever, you know. I was 6 years old. And then you get raped, you get beaten, and then you get raped, and then you get beaten. So at some point, you just accept your fate. I just thought that's why I'm here, you know. It just is the way it is. I'd never ever thought that there weren't any good men. I just thought that I was such a horrible human being for some reason. Maybe my ancestor had done something wrong, you know. I couldn't piece it together at the time, but I thought I must be paying for somebody's something, you know. And I accepted that the minute that man hit me as hard as he did, it hit me so hard. And I remember begging him not to do what I knew he was going to do, but knowing that it wouldn't make a difference. I understood and, in a way, accepted that this was my life. And the only thing I could do for myself is at least try and numb the pain of my existence until the day death comes for me. That's honestly where I was. So I did the drugs. It wasn't it wasn't I wasn't even into drugs that hard, like, you know, like other drugs. Like, I'd smoke weed and hashish and stuff like that. I never got into hard drugs like cocaine or heroin or anything. I liked the alcohol better because I could black out, you know. I could not remember things that happened the night before. But that was, for me, the thing I used to numb myself, to just hold on. Like, if I'm going to live and I'm going to live in such a dark and painful existence, at least let me not feel the pain. So that when I can at least just be numb until death comes. So I would wake up in the morning and um, I'd have black tea with vodka. That was breakfast. And I'd do the same at lunchtime throughout. I was functioning, I was recording music like crazy, I was writing, I was showing up for shows, I was doing the things I needed to do, all the while numbing myself and just waiting for death. And at some point, death wasn't coming fast enough, so I thought I better chase it. And I tried. I chased death. I would ride motorcycles high without helmets. I would go swimming in the ocean in some weird places you shouldn't. I would expose myself to things hoping that, God, could a truck just come out of nowhere, just hit me and get me out of this life? I used to think about it. I remember standing on Mombasa Road watching the buses passing by. And I just kept thinking, just step out onto the road in front of a bus and finish it, you know? Just finish it. And I, honest to God, cannot tell you why I didn't. Until this day, I think all I can say is my mother's prayers were holding on to me. There's no reason I didn't do it. I've been in psychiatric wards. I have gone through electric shock therapy. I have been tied down because I was a mental case trying to kill myself. You know, after having been through all that and coming out on the other side, singing, laughing, excited about life, who am I not to share that? You know, one may think that killing yourself is selfish, but I think living abundantly and not telling people how is selfish. Because forget hell. People think you're going to do bad things and go to hell. You will live out hell here. You know, there are people who are living hell here. So who am I to have gone through hell and made it and now get to live heaven on earth and not share that? And not share with people, with women and men who did nothing wrong, because I know now I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, I may have made bad choices, you know, later in life. I know I made bad choices. But as that 6-year-old girl, I didn't do anything wrong, you know. As that person whose car broke down somewhere, I didn't do anything wrong. And why should we live in this tormenting, endless, vicious cycle of punishment and anguish and loathing ourselves when we can push past that? You know, I kept saying you'd feel like this dark cloud just hovering over you. And I'm like, we cannot give that cloud, those demons or whatever you want to call it, the satisfaction of taking everything, like my life, my mind, my soul, my body, my friends, my job, like mental health issues affect you in every way. I lost everything, you know, I lost everything. Not just my friends. Like when I say I lost everything, I lost my mind, yes, but I was a grown up, an adult human being, and I weighed 45 kgs. You know, you lose everything. You start losing your hair, your sight, your memory, your sense of smell, taste. I mean, because of a mental torment that can be healed. That darkness, there is light that can be shined from, you know, on it. And as you shine light on it, darkness cannot exist where there is light. And even if it's just a flicker, even if my book or my words, my story, my work is just a candlelight in somebody's darkness, it's enough for you to find your way. And I have to say something. I have to say something. I refuse to die and let another person walk. I didn't walk in front of that bus, but I don't want to have to let somebody else step out in front of that bus because they see no hope. Let me be the hope. Something.
Yes, as you continue watching this, thank you so much again, Thitu. I mean, tonight I have very few words, and most of you can tell because I do sometimes the talking. But tonight I have very few words, and just to get a glimpse of what Thitu is talking about and a complete story that she has documented in the book My Crown of Beautiful Ashes, you can log on to www.kibanga.com and get a copy. It goes to for slightly 850 Kenyan shillings. So that should be good enough to just get to know Thitu, that can't say everything on this show, of course, thanks to the limited time. But Thitu, I want us to take a very short break. And when we come back, I'm happy that you're not dead because you're still here and you're telling your story. So I want to find out how you made it through, and definitely get some of us to enjoy life like you're doing, as you see, especially in a nice looking attire.
Hi guys, so we are cooling off in the water. I've got my turtle wrap on, that way it helps me get hands free with baby in the water. Don't try this if you're not used to it. Just take it easy, start in the shower, start trying it first on dry land, and then we can go into the water. So, just opening and shutting our hands and dipping in and out. This one works your hands. And then just kind of like walking. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Isn't that beautiful? Let's just find out. You know, you can always get to kibanga.com and get a copy of My Crown of Beautiful Ashes, courtesy of Thitu Kariba, and that is the book there on your screens. So get on kibanga.com, get a copy, and get to read more about Thitu Garang as she goes by. And Thitu is ready for us as we conclude this discussion with her. Thitu, such a lovely. I see you in nice photos there. I mean, I can see some life in that after the long, long walk through the tunnel. What was that moment for you like? Getting to have a family started. And you know, before I even get way ahead of myself, there's this photo I was looking at, Thitu.
Yes. Oh gosh.
La, 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 la. And then you just decided you'll pull an Air Malaysia on us and decided to go, you know.
Yes.
Ah,
Oh my gosh, that was my.
is this the man that gets to say to you, and you know, there's this one here too, Thitu.
Oh yes. Oh my son. Yes.
I mean, take us through those moments, Thitu, where you're trying to exercise as a mom or as a mom in waiting. And how was that moment for you? Because you've come from a very dark past, and then you're here all bubbly. Can you kindly explain to me the transformation?
Well, it's been amazing, honestly. It wasn't necessarily easy, but once you make that decision that you want a better life, you want to stop living where you are, and you want to get a new address into, a good life, and you do it, then it works. Um, at the time, though, I did that on my own, so it took me much longer. Took me much longer because I had to figure it out on my own. But fortunately, now I've been able to package it, and make it something where I can help other people walk that path, and help them along the way. I know I can't do the work for you, but at least it's not going to take you 10 years or whatever. I'm going to guide you step by step and say, okay, you need to do this and you need to do that, and have somebody you're accountable to as well, so that you're doing the work and not having to give up. And if you're questioning, this and that, how do I make it, because where I am now is amazing. I have a wonderful husband, I have three beautiful kids, um, I have three goats, two dogs. But I'm like I said, I'm living. I wake up in the morning, and the thing that's stopping me from not doing a thing isn't my mental health situation. It's not my my not being able to. It's it's possible. It's not because I believe less of myself, or I'm still stuck in that place. I feel I can do it. I'll do it. I don't have those limiting beliefs or feelings that were associated with my past. I can smell things, I can taste things, and I don't need alcohol on a bad day. I don't, um, you know, I'm more capable of looking at a bad situation and saying, "Yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I know how to navigate through this." Yeah.
Thitu, very quickly, there is something you are equally doing currently, and if you don't mind, explain to us what this is all about. That is right on your screen, the crown jewels. Something
Right.
about that?
So of course, okay, I have them here. So my initial book, the first one, is My Crown of Beauty for Ashes. Um, and that's a promise that God shares with us, that He will give you a crown of beauty for ashes. Um, it doesn't mean you don't get burnt, it's just that even as you do, you can come to a place where you flourish. And even now, as I keep saying, now you've got your crown, but you've got to acquire the crown jewels. And this is a work in progress. Your jewels are acquired just one at a time. So in this one, it's a workbook and a course. It's a 6-week journey to help you rebuild, renew, and restore your life. So I walk with you through the pains that you're going through, and each week we cover a different topic, and we get to unpack all the baggage that we come with, into this course. And each week also you have one-on-one counseling with a certified counseling psychologist who can help you break down the things that you're going through, thinking about, and just get that place of healing. And towards the last week, just talking about, where are you now and where do you want to be? At least now you have the steps to make your way, you know. So now you're able to stand up and walk one step at a time, and always knowing you can come back and talk to us, but the work and getting you off the ground, dusting you off, cleaning you up, and getting you walking, that journey has begun through this 6-week course. It's intense. It's 6 weeks. It's a short time, but it's intense in that you have to really dive into those dark corners I was talking about. But even as you dive into those dark corners, we're here. We're holding your hand. The light is still shining. You're not in it alone. And we're telling you, even if you go so, you know, into a dark place, you can always come back out. You can talk to us. We are going to offer you the counseling and the psychology to go with it, you know. So the book, like you were saying, is on kibangabooks.com. It's 850.
50
um,
thereabout.
yeah, and this one, the 6-week course is 20,000 per person. You get both of these, so you get both materials, and you have me teaching and walking through with you each week for 1 hour, and then you've got counseling. That's must do counseling. Again, 6 hours of counseling for the entire course. If you need more, then it's available. But 6 hours of counseling, that's catered into the cost. That is a must-have, and we just walk with you and get you started. Like I said, to just restore, renew, and rebuild this life that you want to have, because you can have it and you will have it. You just need to decide to.
Well, you need to decide to, and of course, Titu, how can one get actually in contact if they want to follow up with you? And are you looking to sponsor the program, or how exactly does it work?
Well, right now, I'm actually looking for sponsors. I want to start with 5 women who I know can't afford to do the course, the 20,000, but really, really need the help. So I'm actually looking for people who are willing to just donate to the cause, and just help me get those women through. We've already identified some victims who need the help. They're in shelters right now, but we also have those who, if you're willing and able to pay for the course to come about, but for those particular women, what we're hoping to do is get people to just sponsor by just donating. And people can get me on my Instagram direct message. And those of you who want to WhatsApp me, I can share my work line,
Yeah.
which is 0797. I think I can copy it here and see if I can put it into the chat. But they
Seven.
can
Just read out the number, please.
it's 0797 335 799. So anybody
So
who's interested
that is
in
079 733
five,
5799.
yes. So anyone who wants to take the course can definitely reach me there. Anyone who wants to donate can WhatsApp me there and I can share with them how. But also, if you don't need to do the course and you just need counseling, then that's also available. I do that personally one-on-one, but I also have other counselors who do it with me. Um, that one is 2,500 a session, and I can't say how long a session. A session is an hour, but I can't obviously say how many sessions one will take. It's just trying to help people navigate through their day-to-day trials, and some of them it's trauma, some of them just need to try and figure out something in life where they're stuck. Some coaching, some guidance. So that's what we're offering right now. And also, I'm so excited because my mom is also one of the counselors. She's a counseling psychologist, so she's on my team, which is excellent. And ready to just work with men, women, children. Unfortunately, sometimes we have to deal with that, but it's better to help a child heal when they're still young than to try and fix an adult, who's broken. So as sad as it is, it's also an added point, you know. So yeah.
Okay, Thitu. I mean, there's always a brighter end of or at the end of the day, there's always a brighter side of life. And yours is a true definition of what it is when you are resilient and you keep the faith. So again, Thitu, is this guy also part of the journey, or is it the reason you smile so big?
Oh no, it's not the reason.
Oh,
No,
you chose to be happy. That's the point.
yeah, no, you can't rely on people for your happiness. But let me
Mhm,
just say
mhm,
that he is okay, he's my husband, which means he's the reason for my little annoyances, but he's also the
mhm,
reason for all the little
mhm,
smiles and laughters I have
mhm,
every day. Um,
mhm,
he's an amazing human being, really he is. And it's interesting to tell somebody everything and that you have gone through, and they look at you and say, but you're not there now.
mhm.
So and that's he just looked at me and said, okay, but that's your past. So right now, here and now, are you willing to be with me and walk the rest of the future together? you know um, and that's the kind of person he is. Just amazing, awesome. He took me with my son as well. you know um, and we had two more kids, and he's just great. He's really really an amazing person. I annoy him, he annoys me, but that's the thing we love about each other.
Awesome, awesome, Peter. As always, thank you so much for coming to the show. And for
Thank you
everybody
for
that
having
missed
me.
out on the discussion, you can always head onto YouTube and, of course, on our Facebook page and hit the replay button right after the live cast. And remember to subscribe, share, and you can equally follow Thitu on
Yes,
Instagram. She's on
yes.
Facebook. She's on Twitter. Thitu is all over. It's Thitu Garang Kariba. And of course, she is ready to be in contact with you in case you need to follow up on what she's mentioned tonight on the screens. That is our contact. That is +254 797 33 57 99. Again, that is +254 797 33 57 99. That is Thitu Kariba Garang. And you can get her book on www.ibanga.com. The book name is my crown of beauty for ashes. So you head there, get a copy. And Thitu, I told you there are some two people that actually won a copy each. And
Oh,
to date, we haven't delivered it. So we need to arrange this actually.
yes.
And the name, if I'm not wrong, one is in Mombasa, and the other one is in Nairobi. We'll get into the details and actually get T2 to arrange how you can get those books. Okay, so now that you are here, they know. They know I was not holding on anything. We were just
Yes,
waiting
yes.
for Tito to be here to be able to actually do this. So make sure you continue following up on what we do every single week and subscribe to Tito's channel because she has an amazing work happening there. And any final thoughts, Tito, before we close down?
Well, as I always say, I hate to spoil the ending for everybody, but you know what? If you're out there, you're listening, and you've gone through hard times, not to
Mhm.
spoil your ending, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You don't wait for that tragic end. It's not coming. It's going to
Yeah,
be okay. Yeah.
it's gonna be okay. Definitely.
So
So
contact me. We'll get you into the course, get you counseling, get you help, whatever it is. We're here. So don't do it alone.
don't do it alone. That is our parting shot. And remember, you can always follow this conversation every single Sunday against all odds by yours truly, Lekuyani Eli. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your evening. Remember, it's rainy in Nairobi. Watch out for the roads and keep warm. In Mombasa, I can feel it's too warm because Titu's fan was all over the microphones, but we can excuse her because you don't have to boil on set, right? See you till next time. My name is Lekuyani Eli.